People keep asking if I'm back. And I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
I said, get the fuck out of there, boys.
I thought you were saying get out of there because there was a tank.
Welcome back to the Sticky Bandits channel. My name's Andrew.
My name's Luke. What's going on, guys?
We are very late to the conversation about this, about the 60-day push to fix Helldivers 2, but the dust has fully settled from all of that. We've got, two really significant patches and a new war bond, and we've played the game pretty extensively since then. And let's talk about whether or not the game is headed in the right direction and what we think of all the changes.
Come with us. It's going to be fun.
Okay, so we're not going to go too in-depth on these two patches. There's a lot of changes, but I think broadly speaking, what we're seeing here is a pretty fundamental change in design philosophy. There was something that I said in the previous video, which I said it and I did not think there was any chance they would do it, but it actually seems like they're kind of headed this direction where any gun can damage any enemy.
Yeah. It's really cool to see that they've swapped up their design philosophy that way.
Yeah, so it's like, if a Bile Titan shows up and all you have is your sidearm, you can potentially still help out with killing that enemy. Whereas before that was just not the case. Yeah, and that's exactly what I said there, is that it didn't matter if it was like bad at it as long as you could still do damage. So we've seen, clips of people being able to take down heavy enemies with the Senator.
I see a lot of people not very happy with that per se, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just a little bit stronger than it was before. Not just in terms of being able to damage everything, but even just the raw damage numbers have gone up in a lot of instances.
Yeah, the breakpoints are a little bit easier to break through with a lot of different enemies with more weapons.
The trade-off for that has been making the players a little bit squishier, and I frankly think that is a more fun way to play.
Yeah, glass cannon all the way, dude. 100% agree. Makes you play smarter. It also makes some of those defensive stratagems that people don't really use a little bit more attractive to take. Like last night, I was running, and in previous times that we've played, you've been running the shield generator relay. We've gotten so much use out of it, and it's fun to use.
Yeah, the shield generator is definitely one of the winners of the patch. I think they buffed it on the second big patch that they did,
and then they buffed it again.
Yeah. So we did the Gibby build video before that change, and the shield just kind of didn't feel very good. It seemed like it just wouldn't soak up very much damage. One big hit would completely wipe it out. It was pretty small. But the new one is giant. The bubble is huge. And I think the way the mechanic works is that it has a continually regenerating health pool, which makes it much, much, much better without it feeling overpowered, right? It's not going to completely negate all damage forever. And also the uptime on it is great. So you can throw it down, I think, pretty consistently. If your shield lasts its entire duration, you're only without it for about 30 seconds, which feels
about to say
good.
it lasts 40 seconds. I'm trying to find it here in the patch. Oh, here we go. This is so they remove the charge delay between the damage taken. Super nice. And they increase the charge rate from 300 to 400 health per second. And the radius is bigger, and then once the shield is down, it will no longer regenerate. I didn't know that that was a thing even before, that it would regenerate after it went down. That's weird.
Yeah, so if that center bit that generates the shield, as long as it's still above ground, it'll come back. But once it expires, it'll go underground. Kind of like how the turrets will retract once they're out of bullets.
I guess that's just kind of how a testament how weak it was, though, because it never really would come back.
No, almost never. In fact, I think I have a clip in the Gibby video of it getting hit by one turret shot. Like, I threw it down, bubble shield comes up, gets hit by a turret shot, and then it's done. Gone.
It's like, all right, cool. I blocked one instance of damage.
Yep, cool. Good stratagem. But now things like that, like you said, defensive stratagems like that are more important because your character is much weaker, just as far as your health pool. And that's something that I've seen has been a little bit of contention from the way this series of patches has gone. Like, not everybody's thrilled with that. And the flip side is that armor also doesn't feel great. Like, I don't even pay attention to the armor I take. I just pick what looks cool, and I don't care about the perks. And I think that that's maybe the next thing that Arrowhead could look at as far as balance goes, is making armor...
Yeah.
I don't know if necessarily like stronger, but I just think like a more meaningful thing, because I think they've tried to make armor kind of like a class system, right? There's medic armor, there's engineer armor, there's tankier armor, but none of that really matters. And in fact, the only decision that I make when I choose armor is not heavy, because I don't like running slow. Otherwise, I kind of don't care.
Yeah, I agree. They need to come up with a better system when it comes to that. And I don't really have any solutions. I'm not the person to talk to about that, for sure.
Yeah.
I just know that at a fundamental level, it isn't very fun, I guess, is the way I would put it.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. It's not a system in the game that we engage with at all. The armor perks are not interesting enough to worry about, and the armor values don't matter enough to go for heavy armor over being slower running.
Well, yeah, and then the heavier armor doesn't make you ragdoll any less, so if you get like stun locked by something, your heavy armor is not going to do anything for you anyway. You just die slower.
Yeah, ragdolling is
slightly slower.
Is a big thing in the game still. And I think that they're looking at that. I think I remember a poll that they posted a while ago about them specifically addressing ragdolling. And I think if they give you ragdoll reduction based on heavier armor, that might be a good thing to look at.
Or less impact damage when you hit the ground, too.
Yeah, I think...
I've died to impact so many times after getting ragdolled. Even if I only hit the ground slightly after being ragdolled and I die, that makes me so angry.
Yeah, being able to survive falls a little bit more would be super helpful. And I might have said this in the last video too, is I want to be able to fall a little bit further before you start to flail around. Because you jump over, if you dive over uneven terrain while you're shooting, you'll stop shooting to flail your arms around, and it's bruh, just don't do that. Just keep shooting.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would take much more of a bump in there to make that feel better. Yeah,
the
and like I said,
needs to come up slightly.
Totally, because like I said before we hit record, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. I don't care. I don't care what the numbers are. I'm not going to have spreadsheets to try and help people balance their game. That's just not interesting.
Spreadsheets are boring.
Spreadsheets are boring. The important thing is does it feel good and is it fun to play? And largely, I think the game is. We've had a ton of fun with it. I think we stopped playing entirely for a little over a month there, I think, for a bit.
Yeah, it just... The missions felt like you were working too hard for not enough advantage, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Those higher difficulties were just totally unfun, not just because the game was really punishing to play, but also because there weren't any rewards for playing on the higher difficulties. And that's actually still a problem in the game, but I think the reason why we're playing so much more now is that the game is actually just fun to play. And so the rewards aren't even in my mind when we do stuff. other than
No,
super
no.
credits, which they've nerfed quite a bit and you can't find anymore.
Yep, they're just gone. No more.
I think in the last week we've played, I found maybe less than 50 super credits, which is crazy for how much we play.
Yeah. I mean, there for a little while we were playing another game called Raven's Watch while we were trying to like figure out the whole thing with this game, and that's a really fun game, and you should play that one too. But
yeah, it's a great co-op experience.
Now that this game has kind of come back and is the way it is, we don't play Raven's Watch anymore.
No, I don't think we've played that game hardly at all in the last little bit, which is it's
in
fine. We'll come back to it. I think there's still a lot of fun to be had there, but I don't know, when we get the four of us in here and just want to kill stuff in outer space, like this just really scratches the itch. And
it really does.
So yeah, ultimately they've fixed the game. It's headed in the right direction now.
I 100% agree.
Once again, excited about what they're gonna do.
Which kind of leads to like the major order that we just did and finished. The space station should be complete now, and so that'll offer some different storytelling things that they can do within this, and also some gameplay alterations as well. So really excited about the future.
Yeah, so for the fundamentals to be there, then it's worth getting excited about all of the stuff that might come in the future, the DSS being a big one, just here on the screen behind us, majestically floating in space.
Yes.
We're still not sure what the heck it's going to do.
Yeah, I've heard several ideas floated around, like it might be a social hub or something, or it's going to be like this thing that we vote on to like maybe it takes away one type of enemy or something. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. But
yeah, it's hard to say.
Really excited.
Yeah, either way, just like anything new at this point is exciting, because that it is another one of the things that the game needs at this point is a little bit more gameplay variety, like the shooting enemies and ducking and cover and using different stratagems. Like they've got that all on lock. In fact, we should probably talk about what some of our favorites are now that all the changes have been made.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, we've had some like winners and losers from some of the patches, and I think the top of the list for like everybody, the one that has just come out on top as being like previously one of the weakest things and now consistently one of the strongest and most fun things to use, it's got to be strafing run.
Yeah, everyone, like every mission, all four of us take it.
It kind of feels like the new Eagle airstrike, right? Like it's just consistent. It kills everything. You can kill fabricators, heavy enemies, and it's just super easy to use. Like you cannot
5 charges.
5 charges, so you get plenty of uses
you
out
have
of
the
it.
ship upgrade. Granted, you have the ship upgrade, but
yeah. I mean, at this point, we've got everything unlocked, and we're stuck at max samples with nothing to spend them on, which
that feels bad.
Kind of bad. Even though all the last upgrades were just sample dumps, like that didn't do anything.
Well, I like the one ship upgrade that I did like that they brought in was the if you send your Eagle back early, it comes back way quicker. I think that was a really cool change. So if you've got like a lull in the battle, you can like on your way send the Eagle back, and by the time you hit your next spot, it'll be back quicker and you'll have more uses of it. I think that's a really cool strategic option that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something change. That you actually like actively think about and want to use. The rest of them are just like little passive upgrades that don't really do
5%
much.
cooldown reduction,
or like your support weapon comes in immediately instead of 5 seconds later. Like it's good.
It's good, but it's not like holy shit, I want to use all my samples on that one.
Yeah, it's not a system that you actively engage in, whereas the reload totally is, because that changes your tactical use of that stratagem.
One gun that I really want to talk about as a winner of this patch, because I think because it was such a meme when it first came out, the Purifier.
Oh yes,
is completely night and day different. My goodness, they saved this weapon from becoming the meme that it had been so much more fun to use, and you can use it in different ways. So you can play it as you charge it up fully to just do max damage, or you can spam it and it still does okay damage. So they've brought that weapon back from the dead, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I find myself like actively wanting to take that gun now because it's just fun to use and it's effective and it sounds good. They've made a lot of random like sound effects changes that have all been really positive.
Oh, yeah, like the sickle sounds awesome again.
Dude, it sounded good
love the way
before,
the sickle...
and then they changed it, and I heard that they changed it, and I was like, oh no, I love the way it sounded, but it's like, oh wait, no, it just sounds even better.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the sound, like the shadow buffs to sound.
Yeah. Every single one I think has been great.
I agree. Way to go, sound team.
Yep.
Take a bow. Take a bow, sound team.
Another stratagem that has been changed that we've liked is the jump pack changes. The lower cooldown feels good. The change to the distance feels good. That first day was
me a second to get used to it. Man, I hated it that first day, but now I've gotten used to using it and I like it again.
Yeah. Cover ground really, really quickly. It feels like it's worth taking as a stratagem and not just like a fun, silly thing to do.
Yeah, there was a little time after that patch that we were playing and all four of us were all taking jump packs. But now we've actually figured out a strategy to kind of get around that too. So
teamwork. One person
teamwork,
brings
baby.
Jetpack and then calls it in for everybody as it comes off cooldown.
Exactly. So that way you're not wasting a stratagem spot. So there's a tip for you.
Yep. If your jump pack is off cooldown, somebody has a backpack slot, just call it in for them. Just do it.
Just call it in. Do it. Don't hog it. Don't be selfish.
What do you think of the fire changes?
Fire changes, I mean, they're back to what they should have been before they screwed them up. So I guess I can't really speak too much to that, really, because they screwed it up and then just put it back where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like, that's just what everybody said. Like, the fire was fine, just leave it where it is. And they initially said, like, oh, well, we can't do that. And as it turns out, that was a lie.
Life finds a way. The lie detector detected that was a lie.
Let's see. Are there any new enemies that they added in the last 60 days? I don't think so.
I don't think that they've added any new enemies.
Because the only thing that came new was the Escalation of Freedom update brought the Impaler.
The Impaler and the Armored Striders, if I'm thinking correct. And a new kind of Brood Commander, I think, came in too, right?
That's true, but it was mostly just a reskin. I think the only new change was the only brand new enemy that they brought in was the Impaler. And the Impaler is a fun enemy. It's a totally different thing that you have to worry about. It plays differently. Like when it
looks
shows
like
up,
Cthulhu when it shows its face, man. It's scary.
Yeah, I think the Impaler is a great enemy. They had to make some changes to how the tentacles behaved and the explosions that happened when it would attack you. But it's finally in a good spot now. On the bot front, though, the rocket walkers are a giant pain in the ass.
Suck.
It's almost...
They suck so bad.
Almost a deterrent entirely to play on those higher difficulties because they are not very fun to deal with. Like, you have to bring weapons that
medium
can deal
penetrating
with those.
Primaries and medium penetrating sidearms, because then you're not having to waste your support weapons on it. Which thankfully they've all out of all the weapons and stuff that they've added, I feel like a lot of them have medium penetrating stats. So.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about the new War Bond. You are rocking the cool
all right,
armor
I'm
out
kind
of
of representing here.
This new War Bond is actually a pretty
so
significant
good.
win. Yeah.
So good. I think it's been my favorite out of the last couple, for sure.
It easily has the best drip of any of the War Bonds they've added.
Yeah, this armor especially. Like, I like the red armor that they added, but this armor is just chef's kiss. It's just, it's beautiful.
The new emote is phenomenal.
It's the best. I use it all the time.
It is
every
hilarious.
situation, every excuse that I can use to use it, I do it. I come on to somebody's ship and I I put my arms behind my back like I'm Morpheus, and I asked everybody, so what's the status, troops?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
The
freaking awesome.
vehicle and Hellpod skins are straight out of, Star Wars. It looks like you're the Empire with the blacked out stuff and the red accents. But the weapons are good too.
My goodness, the primaries are good. I don't know about the secondary, but
yeah, the sidearm seems like kind of.
it's just if you want to use the purifier, just go use the purifier.
Yeah, well, that's kind of been the case for a couple of the war bonds. The secondaries have just been like really bad versions of primaries, like the Scorcher. The secondary is just like a really bad, low capacity flamethrower. But yeah, the primaries they've added.
The CRISPR, you're thinking.
CRISPR.
The
That's
CRISPR.
CRISPR is what it's called. But the primaries in this new war bond have been great. And
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
have the new war bond yet, but I have tried out the weapons, and I think they feel awesome.
Dude, the submachine gun against the bots is a must take for me almost every time, because it's like having a verdict as a primary. Way bigger magazine than the verdict, but the same like damage and penetration stats. It's awesome.
And it sounds cool. Again,
It's great.
kind of has
Sound
that like
team.
plink, 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 plink.
Yeah, it's great. Well, and then
And then
there's
the halt
it
is
allow-
interesting because, and I hope they do more of this where you have like the programmable arm or programmable ammo. I think
Yeah,
that is
that's
a
a-
really cool mechanic. They've introduced that in a couple of the support weapons like the autocannon and the recoilless.
recoilless.
I forget that they're there sometimes, and that's on me.
Well,
but I think that
it's-
is a very cool thing, and I hope that they add that to more guns.
With the autocannon, it makes a little bit more sense because you get more AOE out of your shells. But for the recoilless, I don't think you would want to use the flak damage as much, because you're really taking that not for ads, You're taking that to kill the heavy armored stuff. So maybe
Correct, yeah.
more useful on the autocannon than the recoilless for sure.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. There's probably a way to fix that, and I don't know. I hate to speculate because I'm not a game designer. I just know what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and I'm sure they see it in their usage numbers, how players are doing with that. Because yeah, Taylor was rocking the autocannon a bunch the other night, and it seemed like he was switching back and forth quite a lot, and you could definitely tell when he was shooting one or the other.
Yeah, like I said, more useful on that weapon than any other, in my opinion. But
It's a cool peak of things that they can and will do, though.
yeah,
And
I think it's a really cool idea that definitely needs more exploring.
totally.
Let's see, what else is in here. Let me look at this other one here.
Oh, we can talk about things that we haven't liked. It's funny. There were a couple of things on my list here from when we talked a couple weeks ago about our least favorite changes of the patches. And jetpack and shield generator were on there, but as it turns out, as we've used them a little bit more, we've come around on them.
Yeah.
The other 3 things on here that need to still be changed is gas, smoke, and EMS. So I like the gas grenade still. I'm still using that, and I think that it's useful. The orbital gas strike does not work very good anymore. Like, you might as well just take the grenade because it's just way better.
And you have more of them, and you're not wasting a stratagem slot.
Yeah, I think the gas war bond is probably one of the worst ones they put out, just as in terms of strength.
Yeah,
Because
I skipped out on it.
Yeah, I feel I'm full of regret for spending super credits on that, because well, and now I know firsthand though, like the changes that made to how gas functions being more like crowd control than damage. I like that idea, but in practice, it's like why would you crowd control things when you can just kill them? The best CC is death.
Yep, exactly.
So like,
shoot them till they don't move no more.
So I don't know what they need to do to make gas good again, because if it's just damage, then it's not that interesting. but the way that the CC is, it's just not strong enough to be worth it over other stratagems.
Yeah, the other stratagems I feel like that need some looking at too are like the smoke stratagems.
I don't think anyone
Nobody's
in our
ever
group
yeah.
has ever taken smoke outside of like the first couple of times we ever tried it, because it was
Yeah,
just like,
like-
oh, that's it.
You almost forget they're even in the game half the time.
Yeah.
So like, well, and it's because like line of sight is kind of weird in this game. Like enemies will still know where you are even if you're behind cover. They don't lose you, and they claim to have fixed that, but I still find myself like enemies just like walking at me while I'm like diving behind cover and maybe even repositioning with the jump pack because I use that a lot. So it still feels like they always know where you're at. So why would you take smoke? Ever?
Yeah, and that seems like another thing on the pile of bug or of
Fixes.
how do
that they
I
make.
say this? They've made a lot of balance decisions that have been based on bugs throughout the entire history of the game. And like the one early on that they screwed up a lot was the Bile Titan bug. So if you were on a PlayStation, you could one or two shot a Bile Titan with the railgun, and so they nerfed the crap out of the railgun without realizing that was a bug, and the railgun was fine, but they were making decisions based on buggy behavior, and we're getting there. But I think that some of the balance changes they're still making are still based on things that don't work correctly. And
I think fire
that's
is
just
probably the biggest offender of that, honestly.
Oh, totally. Fire being buggy, so they changed it, and then it not just, acted terrible, but looked terrible. Then they ended up reverting it because they realized that they were making balance changes based on buggy behavior and not because it actually needed a nerf.
Yep.
Okay, so we were talking about smoke. Smoke still sucks. I don't know what they need to do to make it worth taking
Viable.
smoke.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that, like, if you're taking crowd control over damage, it needs to be really damn good crowd control.
I think EMS is like literally the only one that could be considered good that way.
And even it's not great. Like the orbital EMS needs to stun everything. They made a change to
agree.
it so that it doesn't affect the heavies like the Factory Strider and Bile Titans. But if you're going to take that, because the stun grenade is basically the exact same thing, and you have more.
Well, it's the
charges
same
of it.
concept of the gas grenade, right?
Yes.
Why would
yes.
you take up a stratagem slot with EMS strike if you can just take stun grenades?
Exactly. They're literally the same thing at the moment. It seems like.
Or same thing with a sieve turret. Why would you put a static field in the sieve turret? You wouldn't.
Yeah. I have found that when we've bumped up the difficulty, we find better warheads. And I don't know if that's
I didn't
an
even think about that.
actual intentional thing that happens or if just that's coincidence, but it seems like we will often get no mini nukes when we play on 7, and we get a good amount of them when we play on 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah. Also, playing on those higher difficulties, because of the changes to the factions and how enemies behave, has been way more fun. Because we exclusively used to play on 7, because that's just what felt the best to play. But now we've been running level 10 missions and doing just fine.
Yeah. And in fact, that was my final point on my notes here is the game too easy now? That I think there was a big concern that if they gave us more power, they made weapons stronger, all this stuff, that it would make the game too easy. And I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But also, we don't spend every waking moment playing the game either.
No, we play
We're-
probably way more than the average person for sure, because you and I are both single dudes. But we're not like
I'm not. You're not single. What are you talking about?
Well, we don't have kids.
Oh yeah, we're not parents. That's
Yeah, I guess that's the
distinguished.
we don't have children. I mean,
Yeah.
even Braden seems to find plenty of time to play, and he's got kids.
Yeah, just plays late at night. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is that I don't think the game is too easy. I think it still presents a challenge. I think level 10 maybe could be a smidge more difficult, but I think that if they want to balance the game around a specific difficulty, I think balancing it around 8 or 9 is probably the smart thing, and then making 10 like damn near impossible unless you like really are good at the game. I would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, I agree. You have to play a lot more strategic.
Yeah, you're going to be doing a lot more like subtle things,
running away more.
Yeah, tactically retreating or really paying attention to positioning. You like maybe to like be really truly effective on level 10, you need to be in voice comms and communicate, and that is one other thing that I wish was a bigger part of the game, is just the teamwork thing, because they really emphasize that in just like all of the the propaganda and just
and the marketing
whole co-op
for the game
experience
too,
for it, and like it's definitely way more fun with friends, but I don't feel like it's necessary at the moment. Like there aren't too many co-op systems to engage in, the obvious one being like the team reload function. It's just still a little clunky, and it is strong, but it's not so strong that you can't just easily complete stuff without it. And all of the...
I almost believe that that's a really good place for it to be, though, because just having options is good, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The next thing I was going to say was like, as far as teamwork goes, like none of the objectives really require coordinated teamwork. Like the only one that I think that really benefits from having somebody help you with it is the siege turrets, because they just take forever if you're by yourself. And otherwise everything else can just be done by yourself. I feel like any time that we've played with somebody who's somewhat new to the game, they almost never learn how any of the objectives work, because
we just do them all.
Because one person just does them all and they don't have to even deal with it.
Yeah, I think they could definitely improve on the emphasizing the co-op systems for sure.
Because that was such a big thing in the first Helldivers game, because everybody was locked to the same screen, so you always had to be close to each other. And in the in the sequel, you can go anywhere, and in the 3D environment, it's easy to lose your teammates. And so you just don't feel as connected to them.
Well, like I can think of a very specific example of that. I remember you guys were off doing something, and I was like, oh, hey, let's go to the objective, and everybody was like, yeah. And so I went off to the objective, and everybody else, you guys were just dicking around. I don't know what you guys were doing. And I ended up going to the objective. I'm there by myself. I'm getting thrown around by gunships and Hulks chasing me, and I was like, where did you guys go? So yeah, stick with your teammates.
I mean, you are definitely stronger. When we were doing those level 10 missions, I think we sort of naturally tried to stick together a little more, just because the numbers of enemies are just so much higher. And maybe that's something that they need to push a little bit more in the higher difficulties, is just throwing more enemies at you. Because I think when you don't have enough ordnance to deal with them, then you just are required to stick together to actually complete those missions. But the other thing to that, though, is like, if I think back to our HOTS days, a lot of people will play the game, and when they succeed, they'll assume it's because they're good at the game, and when they fail, they'll assume that it's everybody else who did something wrong. Like it's hard for players to self-diagnose their failures, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like, oh, we could have finished this Helldive mission if we had, stayed in pairs, or if my positioning had been different. And instead, most people are gonna, just be like, oh, well, the game did something that made it break, or my teammate got killed over and over again. It's
never their fault.
Yeah. So that kind of like self-reflection just is hard to be like, okay, well, what could I have done? What could we have changed about the more subtle aspects of our team play, or my positioning, or should I have just retreated more? Or how do I how do I gauge whether or not we're outnumbered or can actually push through a group of enemies? Like those kinds of more subtle decisions, I think, are harder for players to understand and then self-diagnose the reasons why they fail missions.
Mm-hmm.
But those are going to be the kinds of things that you need to be executing to succeed on higher difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
But then from a balance standpoint, you need to balance out like player expression of skill versus like mechanics. I don't know. Like it's all a very complicated thing to balance all of those different aspects to make the game fun to play. But they're on the right track now, and I feel pretty confident that they're going to continue to churn out good shit.
Yeah, they've got really good leadership over there in Pilastat, and can finally say his name right now. But
Papa Piles.
He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think he's going to lead the team in the right direction.
Oh man, I can't imagine what it must have been like when he got back off of vacation.
He's just like,
because he was not there for the Freedom of Escalation patch, and that patch was such a massive miss.
And it was a complete and utter poopy mess.
Yep. Failure. So he goes on vacation, comes back, and is like, my game is dying. No.
Yeah.
But the player counts have been healthy. Like we've seen days of consistent player counts over 100K, which we were getting down into the low 20,000, which was dropping week by week. So that's a pretty strong surge, and that's held steady for about the past month from what I've seen.
Well, and that's a healthy game, and that's just on Steam, by the way. We don't know the PlayStation numbers, but that's a healthy population, and you could work with that, and you can make money off of that as a studio, I think, and justify putting more work into it.
Definitely.
Because the last thing we want is for this game to go the way of other games that we've played, like Heroes of the Storm is the biggest example, where the company just kills the game, and you hold on to hope that maybe they might bring it back, and then they just don't, and it's just sad, man. I hate it.
Yeah, and I feel like we felt like orphans for a long time. Like we didn't have a game to play, and the thing that we like about games is co-op.
Co-op.
We like to work together, and definitely like HOTS was a PvP experience, but it's had a heavy emphasis on teamwork. You succeeded or failed as a team because everybody needed to pitch in. Like one person wasn't just carrying the whole team, and so we thought that we had found that same sort of fun in Helldivers. And then for a while there, it just wasn't, and that's why we started looking at other games like Raven's Watch, which is a fantastic game. I would not mind jumping back into that one at some point, but yeah, Helldivers, when you want to just shoot things in outer space, I don't think there's a better game to do that with your buddies right now.
Yeah, it's that special kind of game where you can kick back with your buddies and have just like a casual good time, or you can like lean really heavy into the role play aspect of it and have fun doing it that way, or you're try-harding in this game and you're really going after the major orders, trying to contribute to it that way. Like there's just so many different ways to play this game.
Yeah, they've got plenty of things to engage in, and I think as they continue to build out the game, give us more fun tools to use. Like I feel like we've been using such a diverse range of
aside from
primaries and stratagems, and strafing run is just so fun. But like our loadouts have been really diverse lately, and I try to switch it up every mission just to have fun with stuff. A lot of our old build videos have gotten so much better because of the buffs. Like they just function the way we wanted them to in the beginning. The Terran, the all Terran team, I would love to revisit that just with the whole group, because I think that is so fun.
Yeah, I want to set up a bubble shield with 4 HMG emplacements inside. That's the Terran bunker.
Yeah, we need to do an all
we
marine
dare
team.
you.
Yeah.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Yeah. Yeah, lots of fun to be had, and something we haven't talked about. You just mentioned was just the engaging with the broader gameplay. I wonder if the completion of the DSS will help with that, because like a lot of people who play the game, like they just drop into a planet and shoot stuff, but they don't realize that there's like a more strategic macro game being played. You know, taking planets or cutting off supply lines, being strategic with, you know, how we engage with the Galactic War. Like, I would love to see more with that. That was definitely one of the things early on that was super interesting that no other game that I've ever played has done, is to just, like, it's the player base versus the devs in a way, right?
Yeah, the whole dungeon master thing, right? Like the guy that's at the head of the snake, I guess is how you would say it. The guy at the wheel,
Joel.
coordinating the chaos. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that they get some more stories and stuff going, because I feel like lately it's been like, yes, we have the space station and stuff that we've been working on, but it doesn't feel like we've got like I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just want more.
I think I get where you're coming from. It's like they're sprinkling in those story elements, but they could push them a lot harder.
Yeah,
because like what was it last week?
that.
Last week they had like the Jet Brigade thing.
Yeah,
And I don't think I ever saw that. And
no,
I don't know
we were
why.
yeah. I think we
'Cause-
might have been on the bug front because that's what the major order or something was.
I think you might be right, or we just missed those couple of days where that was happening.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think more elements like that, where they can introduce like story, will definitely help with making the game more engaging on a broader scale. There was
One cool idea. Sorry, I have
go
to.
ahead.
I have to. One cool idea I think would be to like give us more of like an identity to the opposite factions. Obviously, with the bugs, you can't really like give them like as much personality or something as like robots and stuff. But like give us like a big bad on the one side, like a Thanos type character on the one side.
You know,
That would be cool.
It's actually so interesting that there isn't like a central figure
Yeah,
for us
that's
to,
what I'm talking
to like
about.
really oppose. Yeah.
That would be so cool, because like we've got like, you know, and even like our side doesn't have like, we have like the president or whatever, but he doesn't have a name, or she doesn't have a name, whatever it is. But we have General Brash, I guess, but he's like the propaganda guy. But like,
Yeah.
I would love to have figureheads on each faction. I think that would be so
Yeah.
cool.
No, you are totally onto something right there. Like, why don't we have like a more visible president figure for, you know, Super Earth?
Yeah.
But also some like more antagonistic story elements from the other factions would be super interesting. So like,
Well, like-
emerges the you know, the mother brain type figure for the automatons, you know, the computer system. It could be like really mechanical in like,
Well, you could make it like the
menacing
Matrix or
that way.
Terminator. You can go both ways with that, and like maybe have a combination of both of those things, where you have this like AI entity or whatever.
yeah. And this is something that doesn't even ever have to appear in game. It's not like,
No,
because that can be separate from like the boss fights that everybody is excited for, that I think will happen eventually. Like those are going to be fun, but like just some sort of central antagonist leader of the faction. I think you were absolutely right on that. That could be super interesting, and you could have that on the bug front too. It's like the overmind
Well, yeah, you
for
could
the
kind of,
Zerg,
yeah,
right?
exactly. You kind of do it like the Starship Trooper thing, or the StarCraft thing, and have an overmind type thing, like
Yeah.
Cerebrants from
Yeah.
StarCraft. Similar stuff. Like,
Yes.
I think
Like-
that would add so much to the storytelling elements of this game.
Yeah. What was the brute guy in the last Halo game who would show up and like and piss on you every once in a while just through the holograms?
Eshram.
Ashram. Yeah. I think somebody like that. So like maybe you do have like, you know, Emperor Palpatine type person, but having like generals that pop up to like diss you or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Handsome Jack type stuff.
yeah, they should absolutely go, you know, more in on that. That could actually be so cool. I wonder if anybody else in the community has thought to do that, because that would be really interesting.
That's not something that I've seen in any post or any video. I've never seen anything talked about like that.
You know, and I feel like there was a lot of machinima early on, and that's kind of all died off. I haven't seen anything like
and
that.
the escalation of freedom thing, I really think took a lot of wind out of those sails for people.
Yeah, it's like people aren't going to be creating content for a game that's not as popular anymore, which is really, really too bad. Like, we even tried our hand at a little bit of machinima. We never ended up posting
No one will ever see it.
but it was fun to make, and I think the ideas are cool there to, like, you know, write your own, like, story within Helldivers. Cause,
Yeah, kind of like a red versus blue type thing.
yeah, exactly. And, like, there was a channel... Oh, what the heck were they called? Turkey something or other?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they did stuff for a little while, and I thought, like, oh, this is going to be really good, and then they just kind of stopped after, like, the first, like, 6 months the game was out, and they haven't posted since, not that I've seen, which I think is really a shame, because I think that they were onto something really interesting, like just making, like, little 2 or 3 minute skits every week or something like that. Like, I think that was such a cool idea, and I'm really sad that nobody's doing that now.
I agree. It's kind of sad.
If only I had, you know, unlimited time.
Yeah, no kidding. But
yeah, anyway,
as far as
we'll...
like storytelling options, like get us some figureheads and like some bigger bads to go after.
Yeah, I think that I mean, this is just another one of the many things that keeps you excited about the game. It's the potential that's there, and it still just seems, you know, limitless. They can do anything within this cool game that they've got, and we're starting to get the, you know, the fundamentals all locked in and feeling good, and so now they can spend more dev time fleshing out the broader story, or, you know, other things about the game to make it more interesting on a macro level.
Yep, I agree.
As far as, like, speaking of, like, content creation, we're still making the build videos. We haven't done one in a little while, just because I've been really busy with stuff, but, you know, wintertime, things slow down quite a bit for me, so I'll have more time going into that for other stuff. But I still love the build videos. We have a giant list of build ideas that we've been tossing around, stuff that's themed, stuff that's just silly.
The next one that I think maybe we can tease a little bit, because I think it's really fleshed out, is the ghost one.
Yes, that'll add to, that'll be our third Terran unit build. And
so the ghost is coming. If you want to check out the ghost video that we're gonna make, so it's gonna be cool. Check it out.
Yep. We've also got one for, you know, Master Chief. We have. I still want to do the Gazlo one because I just think that's silly and dumb.
Yep, Turret Man.
Speaking of which, that is one thing that we didn't mention through our talking here, and it's really a shame that these have, like, just fallen by the wayside. Is vehicles, like specifically the mechs.
Yeah.
They've not done anything to the mechs in any of these big patches, and I hope that they do something soon, because like, they're strong, they're good, but they're just not worth it over other stratagems just because of how they're balanced.
And I just don't have
now.
as much fun using them. Like, I like being just me right now.
Yeah.
The only vehicle that I'd really consider, like, taking as a stratagem, because I think it would be fun, would be like a Warthog type vehicle.
Oh, totally.
A three-man vehicle where one person sits in the sidecar, has, like, their support weapon, and then another on a like an MG turret on the back. Don't make it a stalwart, because that's lame.
Yeah.
Put the regular MG on that.
Totally. Yep.
So
vehicles,
put a Warthog.
improving the mechs. I mean, I'm very curious to see how that'll work, because they were just regular stratagems in Helldivers 1, but they might be thinking differently about how they work in Helldivers 2. I wonder if they'll be, like, mission specific or something. I wouldn't mind that.
Dude, can you imagine? I know this is, like, conjecture and, like, not kind of relevant to what we're talking about, but a mission that was like a vehicle specific mission with, like, cars, like Warthog type stuff, and you had to, like, stop a train and, like, board the train or something. Oh, that'd be so freaking cool.
Dude, and they desperately need more mission types. That's exactly the kind of stuff that they need to put in at the game. Keep things fresh, keep it interesting, keep the variety coming. Train heist.
Train heist.
Train heist. Make it happen, Arrowhead.
Train heist. I want it.
Anyway, I think we've talked about everything that we wanted to get through today. Thanks for being along for our mega long conversation here. Just wanted to let everybody know we're still here. We're still thinking about the game. We're still playing. And we're still going to be making stuff for it because we enjoy the game.
Yeah, so If you feel so inclined, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Leave a comment. Please tell us your thoughts. We want to hear what you guys think. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the Sticky Bandits signing out. See you next time.